before Dr. Chu introduces himself, but I want to introduce Professor Miguel Rasmussen from Copenhagen, Denmark. And he will be giving us his talk, first talk this Friday on Trump and his anti-revolution or something like this. And the second talk will be Monday next week afternoon on some avant-garde and why it failed. So and there's a third, and maybe some good, but that's here. Maybe the strange stories of Dr. Chu's adventure in Africa. All right.
刘老师说不需要介绍我。Professor Liu said that there's no need to introduce me. Okay. Today's lecture, we announced it as a Chinese lecture or talk in Chinese, but I prepared my PowerPoint text all in English. But I don't know whether this arrangement is okay. And of course, the discussion can be conducted in bilingual, which means Chinese and English bilingual. Probably, I don't know, at any moment, if you need, I give more explanation of my talk in English. Just give me a sign, and I will talk in English.
No, I do think perhaps if you do that in English, because we have quite a few students who don't understand Mandarin.
Okay, yeah, just, okay.
You can start with Mandarin, but you can pick up with some English. I think our students can also follow you with English.
Anyone object to this? Maybe I'll try that. Because when I prepared the talk, it's a more fluent.
Sure.
It's
start with Mandarin and
yes,
you
okay.
elaborate.
Okay, the subject, let me explain. Feeling thinking. I think if you are more familiar with the Deleuzian philosophy, you are more familiar with this kind of expression. That's in recent philosophy, feeling and thinking are no longer that separated categories. And our thinking sometimes just continue or based on our feeling. So this expression, I think, is fit to express my feeling, thinking on the subject. The subject violence in Africa is not the subject I proposed for the National Science Council who sponsored my research at Africa. For that project, my topic is the decolonization of knowledge and religion in Africa. Of course, I have many thoughts on that subject, but that's not for today. And there are some other subjects, for example, like the urban slum. I have been visiting many of them and have a lot of thinking on it, but probably not for today. So today, the subject is violence in Africa. And I probably need about 90 minutes because I have 6 good stories. Each has a very different background and give I will evoke sometimes anthropological, sometimes maybe mythological, philosophical implications of it. So Africa. Well, generally now we have a very different perception of Africa now today. If you continue the old perception. Africa probably means a continent of poverty, war, genocide, famine, and plagues. Now, even today, like AIDS, AIDS, and Ebola, and many others, we have to prepare ourselves before we go to Africa by the Yellow Book. Requires you to have many shots for like yellow fever, like and many others. Is that kind of perception still true? Yes, to some extent. But the situation is changing. For example, like maybe 20 years ago, the Uganda, the country I stay, have a AIDS rate more over 30% of its population. But today it's like 5 or 6%. So it's a very successful story for that. Okay, so on the other hand, we have recently, in recent years, some new perception on Africa, and it is also hailed as something first, Africa now is a post-colonial era, it's post-apartheid era, and in many countries you see they are stepping out of poverty and misery, including one we serve as our example, which is Rwanda. So now Africa, you see the inflow of remnants, tourism. Whenever this country is, in a stable and secure circumstance, the tourists will boom. And then the investment by China almost in every aspect, which is also a very important factor in Africa. It means that in the past 30 years, when China rise, because China, of course, basically needs natural resources, so Africa rise together with China in many aspects. And then there are African Growth and Opportunity Act by the United States, 2002 now, which gave very favorable, tariff deduction or waive for all African goods, which is very helpful for African trade. And then forging ahead for a continental free trade area, the whole continent, 55 countries, maybe in the future, and an emergent middle class. I don't have time today to describe the middle class, the rising middle class in Africa, but you can see them. So, is Africa preparing for takeoff? This actually is not my question. This question is raised by many observers, and then they will compare it to Asian countries like South Korea and Taiwan in the 1950s. Because in 1950s, South Korea and Taiwan, South Korea is worse than Taiwan because it was still war going on. And then at that time has a per capita GDP lower than Ghana and Senegal. Okay. So they compare them. So if East Asian country like Taiwan or South Korea can achieve that kind of takeoff, why not African countries? Yeah. So this is now the very different perception of Africa today. Okay. The order. I put it on this because I want to know the statistics of how violent or how safe a country is, besides my personal experience living in that country, living in that country's city. Yeah. So I'm very slow. I prepared these frame the whole afternoon, copy paste and fill out the figures. Yeah, right. Okay. Now you see on the first column, about half of the first column, you see East Asia countries, which is pretty good compared to the country in the world. Yeah, to my surprise, Taiwan is slightly higher than China, South Korea, and Singapore, and Japan. But they are still in the group. Well, okay. Now you see the middle column above. Middle column you see the Western European countries and South. Yeah, or they are in a group which is good. It's not bad. And then you have this special case of the United States, which will group together with probably Pakistan or something, like 5.35. That's because they have a gun, and the death, the casualties, death, but in each instance is high. Okay. Now, on the right column, the first 6 African country will be the stories of the day. So you can compare that. Uganda, well, probably comparable to Philippines in Asia. And surprisingly, Rwanda, that, quarter century ago, the place happened the genocide. Now it's really a very different countries now today. That would be my second story. So it has a very low homicide rate. Okay, very un-African. And then there comes the worst one, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and then Nigeria, and then that's South Sudan, and then surprisingly, and that will be my last story, South Africa. Pretty high, 33 is ranked 9th in the world, and the small kingdom inside territorially inside Africa, Lesotho, have a homicide rate over 50 per 100,000. So that's roughly the case. Yeah. So this is give you a basic comparison. Okay. So Uganda. Okay. This is an outline of the Uganda stories. First, I just will talk a little bit about the tyrannical reign of Idi Amin, 1971 to 1979. Then Uganda Bush War, and then Joseph Kony's Lord's Resistance Army. A terrible story, which are not ending today. Yeah, it becomes what in Chinese 流寇. 流寇 means wandering, a group of wandering bandits, very terrible, and from Uganda, at first from Uganda, the northern province of Uganda, and then to eastern province of Democratic Republic of Congo, and then played the Republic of Central Africa, and then it's the most recent report, and South Sudan, and the report is on Darfur area. So, I will get in that story later. And then the crisis of Bobby Warren, right? I will get to that story. Okay. Okay, the first is how about the feeding? Begins from the feeding. The scene, like this. That is the first day when I get to the University of McGregor, when I just walk out of the gate. And then there's, something, a pack of motorists like this, and then yelling at me. So that's the first scene that made me alert. I have some instinct reaction, coming from the younger age when I was wandering around Taipei's street. So I'm always alert to something like a pack, 狼群或鼠群或者是什么东西 anything in pack, I'll be alert. So things like this and yelling to me, that's the first thing, learn. And then I quickly learned, this is not a motorist gangster. These are something like called Bora Bora. Bora Bora is now, you should know, across the African continent, sub-Sahara African continent, the most convenient transportation probably for you. This is a so-called, in mainland China, so-called Modi, motorcycle taxi or something. Right. Oh yes, right. But Vietnam are more formal because they are wearing jacket and wearing helmet, right? Yeah. So this is I'm putting this because then I spent 6 months in Kampala, and then according to my own experience, that's why I say that Uganda's homicide rate, like 11 per 100,000, is something out of my direct experience. Because then, for the six months living in Kampala, I feel that place, that city, is a place even safer than you actually in Taiwan. Taiwan is a safe place, but still, Taiwan still not. I mean, okay, no, I should correct that. I mean, not safer, because Taiwan city is also safe, but I mean less violence, because in Taiwan you still sometimes it will happen. For example, if your vehicle collide or motorcycle collide, sometimes they are still solve that problem, or at least give them a post of a very violent post. So something like that. You still have that kind of thing, but you don't have these kind of thing. And even something begging for money, they will have a very polite expression, like they'll follow you for a few steps and saying that I have trouble. I didn't eat for 2 days, and then I need something like that. And if sometimes I don't have convenient. Usually I have small bills on one pocket and big bills on another. Another. Usually I will compare that as small bill to them. But that day, I have only no. So I have hesitation for a few steps, and then they still will say that God bless you or something like that. Very polite. So you don't see actually living there. You don't see that any kind of, and I didn't run into any kind of violent conflict in my stay. So actually the 6 months living give me a different feeling than the previous homicide rate. So I don't know how that the homicide rate happening maybe in, I don't know, small towns or rural area. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Let's begin with the Uganda story. Idi Amin, 1971 to 79. I cannot open this. I cannot open this. Just click here. I have to. 哇，可以了啊，这样子可以吗？有谁比较会操作的？有谁比较会操作这个？帮我点一下，然后放在那个 Google 里面把它打开来。有谁？那个。
Oh, it's like made in China.
No, something in PowerPoint I cannot open it directly. 就是这个，这是一个网址，比较复杂的网址，就点。Not working.
你把它
复制，然后贴到那个。
可以了，刚刚是不行的。
我说整个复制，我在这边我试过，我在家里试过，他没办法。
现在没办法。要到一个。
就是复制，然后拉到 Chrome， 那个 Google Chrome。
先写在放投影片里。我先去吧。
就是整个，这是一个网址 block 起来，然后复制到拉到那个PowerPoint 以外 Google Chrome， 然后贴上去。
颁奖。
哦，还没有连线。
那要那个打密码吧？
This is an advertisement of a five-star hotel. I've been that hotel only in one occasion when the Hunan province, governor of Hunan province, lead a team of maybe close to 200 people for come to visiting Uganda and receive that day by the Prime Minister of Uganda to introduce each other's with each other's entrepreneur or something 商人或者是企业家 enterprise owner. That for that occasion one of Uganda businessmen take me. I don't have an invitation. They take me to that, and then I see that I probably don't have time for that interesting meetings. And this here I have the meeting on this now today's Serena called Kampala Serena Hotel, but at that time is Amin's mansion, now called Nile Mansion, but people say that beware to book this hotel because there's too many ghosts there. Because now see this building, the second floor, the Idi Amin's office are in one room, and the torture chamber for his political opponents are on just the next floor. And Uganda, as Idi Amin as a tyrant, have famous. He will cut off the head of his political opponents, and store the head in freezer and take out to enjoy it from time to time. You know, so that's what a tyrant do. You know, yeah. But today, today is a 5-star hotel. You can see it's first rate and. Only goes no single people here. I don't know. Probably I will not stay there. And I'm thinking, in countries like Uganda or Kenya or those eastern countries we have travel, they are not lacking luxurious hotel like this. They are not lacking. What they are lacking is, for if we are looking for maybe 3-star or 2-star, inexpensive to stay. Very rare. No, almost no hotel like that. And it's easy to explain. Finally, I will tell you that because their middle class haven't grown thick enough. So all those hotels for the ordinary middle class are not existing. For hotel like this, you have many tourists or businessmen coming from other countries. So you have many of luxury hotels, but not enough the ordinary hotels. That's oh, okay. I have to go back to my yeah. Next one. Okay. Well, I just raised another all. I'm not exhausting what he has done, but there's statistics of how many people that these tyrants have been, responsible for the death. The estimation is like 300 to 500,000 people. And then there's one thing, in August 1972, Amin declared what he called an economic war, a set of policies that included the expropriation of business and properties owned by Asians and Europeans, and issued a decree ordering the expulsion of about 80,000 Asians. The Asians are mostly Indian. People coming from India, who were mostly from Indian subcontinent and born in Uganda. Idi Amin, make many of the military or army officers feel insecure because of his wayward or his temperament. So many of the army officers exiled in neighboring countries, majorly in Tanzania, and then they rise up against Idi Amin, and Idi Amin lost the war, and the rebelling army entered the capital, and then Idi Amin exiled. At first, finally, he stayed and died in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Okay. Then there are several years of war happened in Uganda, civil war. Well, there's another elected president, but this president is Oppot. Is actually the president abolished by Idi Amin in 1971, and he come to power again. But in this country, a lot of defiance against Yeah, because against him, because of his belief the election are fraud. But then there's a guerrilla war of these people. This is the current president sworn in as a president in 1986. So it's another long term, over 30 years rule, I think.